Somewhere in a quiet law office on Wall Street, in a short story barely 40 pages long, Herman Melville buried one of the strangest and most unsettling sentences ever written. It isn't a threat, it isn't an argument, it's just 5 plain, polite words repeated again and again that manage to bring an entire system of expectation, obligation, and authority to a complete standstill. I would prefer not to. No shouting, no defiance, no explanation. And somehow, that quiet little sentence has haunted readers, philosophers, and rebels for over a century and a half. The man who stopped complying. For the first stretch of the story, Bartleby is the model employee. He copies legal documents at a furious, almost mechanical pace, working late into the night, seemingly content to disappear entirely into the repetitive labor of Wall Street law. The elderly narrator, a cautious, well-meaning lawyer, is delighted to have found such diligence. Then, one ordinary afternoon, he asks Bartleby to help proofread a document, a completely standard, unremarkable request, and Bartleby, without looking up, simply answers, "I would prefer not to." It isn't refusal in any form the narrator recognizes. There's no anger in it, no justification offered, no negotiation implied. Bartleby doesn't say he can't, or that it's unfair, or that he has a better reason to be doing something else. He simply states a preference, as though the entire concept of obligation has quietly stopped applying to him, and waits to see what happens next. A refusal that breaks the rules of refusal. What makes this single sentence so genuinely radical is exactly what it refuses to do. Ordinary disobedience gives you something to push against, an argument to counter, a grievance to address, a demand you can negotiate. Bartleby offers none of that. He doesn't claim the task is beneath him, or unjust, or too difficult. He simply prefers not to, over and over, whether he's asked to proofread documents, run errands, or eventually even do any work at all. The phrase is so mild, so devoid of confrontation, that it becomes almost impossible to fight. That's precisely why Melville's sentence has echoed so powerfully through more than a century of philosophy and literature. Bartleby isn't rebelling against any specific rule. He's quietly, politely refusing the entire premise that he owes anyone an explanation for what he will and won't do. It's a kind of resistance that can't be out-argued because it was never built on argument in the first place, and that makes it far more unsettling than open defiance ever could be. If a story this small and this unsettling is already lodging itself somewhere in your head, you don't need to hunt down the physical book to sit with it further. You can listen to Bartleby the Scrivener as an audiobook through Amazon Audible, at work, in the car, or during any of those moments in your day when actually reading isn't an option. Right now, you can try the subscription for practically nothing, and I'll leave the link down in the description if you're curious. The system that has no answer for this. The narrator tries everything a reasonable, decent man knows how to try. He reasons with Bartleby. He appeals to duty, then to sympathy, then to simple logic. When none of it works, he even offers him money to leave. Nothing changes Bartleby's quiet, immovable position, and the narrator, a man used to Wall Street's clean transactions of obligation and payment, finds himself utterly disarmed by an employee who wants nothing from him at all, not even his job, apparently, since Bartleby eventually stops working entirely and simply occupying the office. Eventually, unable to bring himself to forcibly remove Bartleby, the narrator does something almost absurd. He moves his own law practice to a different building, effectively abandoning his own office rather than confronting the man living quietly inside it. It's a small, telling detail, and Melville clearly wants us to notice it. An entire structure of law, commerce, and social order built to handle contracts, disputes, and clearly defined obligations turns out to have absolutely no mechanism for responding to someone who simply, calmly prefers not to participate in any of it. The rumor that explains everything and nothing. Near the end of the story, Melville offers a single, unverified rumor about Bartleby's past, that he once worked at the dead letter office, sorting through mail addressed to people who had died, moved without a trace, or otherwise vanished before it could ever reach them. It's the closest thing the story gives us to an explanation, and Melville deliberately refuses to confirm whether it's even true. If it is, it suggests a man who spent years handling the physical residue of failed connection, undelivered love, forgotten obligation, and who eventually decided that if so much of life ends up addressed to no one, perhaps almost nothing is worth doing at all. But Melville never lets us settle comfortably into that explanation either. The rumor doesn't resolve Bartleby, it deepens the mystery of him, because ultimately we never actually learn why Bartleby prefers not to. We're left, like the narrator, standing outside a closed door, aware that someone nearby is suffering in a way we can sense but never fully access. And maybe that unresolved not knowing is the most honest thing Melville could have written about how limited our understanding of another person's inner devastation usually is. What Bartleby leaves us with. Bartleby eventually dies quietly in prison, having refused by the end even to eat, having preferred, it seems, not to continue existing under conditions he found unbearable. The narrator, standing over his body, utters the story's famous final line, "Ah, Bartleby, ah, humanity." A single sentence that manages to hold both specific grief for one lost, unreachable man and something much larger, a kind of mourning for how often we walk past each other's quiet devastation, unable to fully see it. More than a century and a half later, Bartleby's 5 words still feel like the sharpest expression of a very particular kind of freedom, the freedom to simply withhold participation without needing to justify it to anyone. It's easy to read the story as a warning about isolation and despair, and it is that, but it's also, quietly, one of literature's boldest statements about autonomy, that a person's right to say no doesn't always need a reason attached to it, however uncomfortable that makes the people standing around them. Before we close this one out, if Bartleby's quiet refusal has left you thinking the way it's left readers thinking for generations, remember you don't need the physical book to sit with the rest of it. The full audiobook of Bartleby the Scrivener is available through Amazon Audible, so you can listen during your commute, at work, or in any moment when picking up a physical book isn't realistic. The trial subscription is practically free right now, and the link will be waiting for you in the description below. In the end, Bartleby the Scrivener isn't really a story about one strange employee on Wall Street. It's a story about how little our systems of work, law, and even kindness know how to do with someone who simply refuses to keep playing along, and about how much of another person's pain can remain permanently unreachable, no matter how much we want to understand it. Melville doesn't give us an answer. He just leaves us, like the narrator, quietly haunted by a sentence that refuses to explain itself. Remember to subscribe, comment, like, and see you next time.